All right, you're looking live at the Nasdaq. And if you ever doubted that the stock market has a personality, you just watch it on the days that the Fed makes an interest rate announcements and then the following speech. Today it was a doozy as the Nasdaq fell 346 points or 2.23% and closed at 15,164. It is down 3% since the high on Monday. The high made on Monday, which was 15,630, and that was the high on Monday. Today, it closed at 15,164. You can see it pulled back to its 21 EMA and closed right on the 21 EMA and 2.6% above the 50. And I mentioned this earlier that, whenever the Nasdaq gets above 6%, above this 50, this line here during this power trend, it gets a little cranky and pulls back in. And it can correct via, time like it did here. It just went sideways back into a moving average, or it can correct quickly through price, from 15,550 to 477. But it's made this a 25% move from 12,543 on October 26th to this 15,630 on Monday, which is January 29th. So 3 months, 25%. That is a big move in a short period of time. And like I said, this thing is due to correct, being that far above its 50 simple moving average. And it looks like it wants to correct via price instead of time. And Jerome Powell was speaking today, and the markets really wanted to have a rate cut in March, and he's essentially saying he's going to cut rates, but maybe not in March. He doesn't want to be forced into lowering rates in March. But the markets think that he's late to the party, like they were late raising rates. The market's thinking he's late lowering rates, and that's cause for concern, and that's why a little bit of a sell-off today, a little bit of consternation, a little bit of anxiety, but this will all settle out. Remember, today's the last day of the month. Tomorrow is February 1. All this will be forgotten. The first day of the month, we're still in an uptrend. I would expect the uptrend to continue. It's not going to be derailed because it's a question of when, not if. If it's not, March, and it's going to be the next meeting. So they're gonna lower rates 3 or 4 times, and they can lower rates at any time, and they can lower a quarter, a half, 3/4, whatever they want. So it's not really a big deal. It's just the market's not getting its way, and it believes that Powell's late to the party. But kind of a strange dichotomy today in that the Russell was down 2.45%, which is not unusual. It's just that the 10-year came way down today. This thing crashed below 4%, and it's just following its trend here. It was trending lower, then had this little hiccup, little move back up to its moving average and just getting rejected like Matambo here. So I would expect it to make a low before too long of that 3.78. But anyway, just wanted to show you the relationship there, which usually is an inverse relationship, but they both went down today. Heck, everything went down today. Nobody was happy today. The longer Powell spoke, the more the selling went on. People were very upset with him. But they're going to lower rates. You just need to relax and let this thing settle out. The S&P 500, which made a high on Monday of 4,929, now is pulled back. It was down 1.6% today and is 2.9% above that rising. Remember, the rising moving averages. They're not going sideways. They're not going down. They're rising. So just relax. We're in an uptrend. The uptrend is likely to continue. It's not going to be derailed because the rates are being lowered in, May instead of March, or they're probably still even lower in March. Who knows? The Dow was down 317 points. It was enjoying a nice day today. I wasn't really paying attention too much, but you could see the selling here. As soon as Powell started speaking here, this thing sold right off with heavy volume. So it's just kind of like a temper tantrum. The market doesn't get its way, so it sells off. So yeah, it has a personality, folks. All right, let's move on. Apple, once again, this thing is making me seasick. You need Dramamine with this stock. Traded, below its 50, down to the 200, found support, rallied through the 50. Now it crashed back below the 50, and they report earnings tomorrow. We're going to have to wait and see. Just wait and see, see what they have to say. I don't know. Apple probably having a little trouble in China. Rumors are that their iPhone's not selling quite as well as they had hoped. Microsoft was having a decent day. I was surprised with its resiliency until the Fed started speaking. I got to go to the 5-minute chart. Yeah, Fed's speaking right here. It was having a decent day, above 400, then it just sliced it. I'm telling you, it was down $11 today. I bet you if you bought at the close today, you're going to be happy tomorrow. Something tells me that these things are going to, perk up and not just continue to go straight down here. That was a heavy volume move to the downside after a really strong report. Another stock that did not have quite the same report that had a real bad reaction was Google, down 7.5%. Traded down near its 50 there. So back near that old buy point there, 139.42. So a round trip for the Google folks. Sorry about that, but it's probably giving other people an opportunity to get in. There was a little consternation about the AI affecting their search, but Google's the search king, so I don't know. I think it's an opportunity. Amazon, they report tomorrow, down to the 21 she goes. I got to imagine they're going to report strong numbers with their AWS, just like Microsoft did with Azure. And I got to believe, with the strong retail sales number, this is going to be a pretty strong report for Amazon. Pulled back to the 21, closed just 0.3% above it. That thing looks pretty strong. Meta Platforms reports tomorrow. So we have Apple, Amazon, Meta, and Deckers, which I'm looking forward to. Meta just pulled back to its 10 today. Rejected like Microsoft at the 400, but we'll have to wait and see what Zuckerberg has to say tomorrow. Anyway, I've gone through 5 of the Super 6. I'm going to go to NVIDIA. I thought this thing was going to pull back a lot more today, but it really didn't. 2% move, big deal. I mean, things ran from 473 to what, 620, 634. And so if it pulls back to, it's 10 EMA, I mean, big deal, right? Once again, this thing is just, look at the growth numbers. I've never seen a market cap of 1.5 trillion grow at triple digit sales and earnings growth. So another phenomenal move. AMD, I was encouraged, let's say, at the resilience of AMD. It looked like it was going to go positive until POWL started speaking. It was just kind of climbing all day. It sold off and then just had this real steady ascent, and it looked like it was going to go positive back up, above 172. And then POWL started speaking. It's like, no, you don't. Get back there. And anyway, somebody wants to own AMD longer term. There's buyers in there, as you can see by these big blue volume bars. And I was really surprised. And this is why I say don't go for the okie doke in after hours. It was down, like 160 last night, and people were panic selling. And what happens? It opens up and just starts ramping. And if Powell would have given the market what it wanted, it would have, well, I can't assume anything, but it was trending higher until he started speaking. Anyway, enough of that. AMD, SMCI is one that really doesn't care about the Nasdaq, doesn't care about Jerome Powell, doesn't really care about much except for higher prices. This one today, I noticed yesterday it was down to 501, and I thought it was going to fill the gap there at 495.72, but it didn't yesterday, but it did in after hours last night. People were selling again, all panicked after the AMD and Google reports, but today, made a higher low of 503. So yesterday was 501.17, higher low is 503 today. You could see it's up nearly 12% for the week at $530. Just a monster stock. If you ever looked at, model book stocks, this is what they look like. Yeah, that's a pretty big consolidation period. And it went from 357, that standard buy point, up to 530. Thank you very much. That's a nice move. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing consolidate there and allow these moving averages to catch up. But man, that is a strong stock. Another one in the same, data center area is Vertiv Holdings. This one was up again today pretty strongly, but then, it pulled back when Powell started speaking. Yeah, right there. Just into the close, it was pretty weak, but, it's down 0.5%, big deal. Powell Industries, this one was up 45% after following its strong earnings report. It's thinly traded. You could see the average daily volume here of 179, but traded 1.5 million shares today. That's a move that cannot be ignored, Dan. Definitely put this one on your radar. It's consolidated in a long base from 90 back in August. So you're looking at a 6-month base there and just blasted higher out of a base on earnings. So that is a power earnings gap for Powell Industries, one that we're going to watch. NVO, this is one that I had bought and recently got a little heavier into it because I was pretty confident in this. It didn't participate in the rally. Stock market rally, like I just mentioned, Nasdaq was up 25%, and this thing was just biding time from 104, boom, for a long time. And so a company that's growing, what is this, 41% sales growth, 37, 39, 41, with what? Nearly 10 billion in sales for the quarter. Hello. And they're supply constraint. So they're not having enough supply to meet demand. So when they unleash their manufacturing and their supply on this demand, you can expect these numbers to go up. I was reading through their literature today. They are applying for an NDA for kidney failure, kidney issues, renal, kidneys, and cardiovascular. So if they get an approval, you can bet this is going to go much higher, and the sales are going to ramp up because it'll be. The reason is, well, obviously there's a lot of cardiovascular and kidney patients, but it'll be covered by Medicare and it won't cost so much. Anecdotally, I have some friends who, instead of going to the gym for their New Year's resolution, they stopped drinking and they just started taking Ozempic, and they've lost what Mike lost like 10 pounds just this month of January. So he's really happy that it works. And just anecdotally, he believes, they've been sweating to the oldies for years and years in the gym. They're tired of that. And they're just going to take a shot. It's much easier, at 70 years old than going to sweating it out at the gym, which, an old grunt like me, I like to sweat at the gym. So that's what I do instead. Anyway, enough of that noise. Eli Lilly, this is still on our ready list because it's still got that 630. It's still hanging around that area. Yeah, I know it's $15 above it, but when this thing decides to move, it's going to have 700 in its sight. They report next Tuesday. Lilly, like NVO is going to be showing stronger sales growth going forward. Viking, this is one that I believe, I just keep showing you this because I believe it's going to be a buyout target pretty soon. I'm not, pretty soon for biotech is a year or two, but it could be, next week or next month. It traded up to 25.24 today, getting near that old high here. So essentially, you got this big, base here and pull back to moving average, now ramping higher after this little blip here. This little sideways action now moving higher. That looks really good to me, but what do I know? Let's go to the medical stocks. This is like the safe haven today. Kind of strange. Stryker, they reported strong earnings and that was up 6%. It's up on volume. You got to acknowledge that move, breaking out of that base. If I was a smart person, I would have had that on my ready list, but I didn't, so I missed it. Cardinal Healthcare, this is not an area that I really participate in but you got to admit these things are looking good. This is up 2% today. They have earnings tomorrow. So, if Stryker was looking good, Cardinal Health probably will too. We're going to pay attention to that tomorrow. Boston Scientific, and another medical product stock, reporting earnings up 3%. So, you just acknowledge the strength here. I tell you to look on pullbacks. We look for support areas like we saw with AMD, and then on you know, we look for relative strength with stocks up in volume, and these stocks certainly were. TMDX is another one that I kind of like. They report on the 21st. As you can see this big, you know, once again, this big base with TMDX up. It was a $99 stock, sold off. I'm not really sure why. Ran up and then pulled back to a moving average, and now it's starting to run higher. So that one looks good to me as well. And the other one is MCK, which is McKesson, which is a drug supplier. And once again, you know, earnings next Wednesday up 2%. That area was really strong today, along with, you know, the, you know, Novo Nordisk earnings report, which was just phenomenal. I gotta go. I don't. I gotta show some retail stocks. I can't go a day without retail. This is Brinker International. You know, you can see it has Chili's, Maggiano's, a big chain. And it's emerging from this stage one base. It's consolidation there. You can see the buy point around $41. Had a nice move today. And you know, I'm just acknowledging here, it had this big base, tried to make this move to 44.97, pull back to the 50, and now is breaking higher. So that one looks good. Chipotle, I wrote this down earlier in the day. It was higher, and then yeah, Jerome Powell sabotaged this one too. Yeah, not a surprise. Just sold off into the close. Big deal. It looks good to me. Deckers, I mentioned this because they report tomorrow. Pull back to the 10 today. You know, I know that their Hoka and UGG brands are strong. I don't know how much longer this thing can continue to run, though. It has been a monster and had a heck of a run. If I show the monthly here, just, you know, if you had Deckers and Novo Nordisk in your portfolio, retirement portfolio, you'd be a very happy person. Elf is another one that reports next week. Let's see, what about Elf? Just trading sideways here. It had this cup with handle pattern, pull back to the 131, ran up to the 164, now pull back to the 21. It's just surfing its moving averages here, trading tight. They report Tuesday, and I gotta believe they're gonna crush it, you know, just based on my research here. Not I'm not, you know, using Elf products, but just researching, you know, their marketing plans. Looks pretty good. Lulu, for some reason today, did not need the help of Jerome Powell. Sliced its 50. It's with volume. That's adios muchachos for me. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, I'm just, you know, this is one where you know, you buy on technicals and fundamentals and you sell on technicals. You know, technically trading, slice the 50 with volume, just get out and, you know, you're going to hear the rest of the story later. Maybe their sales are slowing. I don't know. Somebody knows something and they're selling this stock. So that's definitely an avoid for me. Okay, an area that I never cover or rarely cover, the auto manufacturer group. Obviously, Tesla is the big kahuna here, but I don't want to cover Tesla. This is General Motors in a consolidation period here, up 10% this week. And, you know, I'm not being mean to Tesla. I'll go back to Tesla. Tesla's just below its moving averages. That's why I'm not covering it. I don't even want to look at it. It's just needs time out. It just needs time. So that's why I'm not like anti-Tesla or anything. This is a Ferrari, or, you know, ticker symbol race, consolidating in a base, trying to, you know, it was ripping through its 50 today, and then Powell spoke and he just sold off, you know, so he kind of spoiled the party today for most stocks, you know, and that's why people are upset with him. And then Stella, which is Chrysler, you know, having a nice day, then sold off. So I wrote these before Powell. Oh, it was still okay. It was up on the day, but you know, it was trying to rip through its 50 here. So those are definitely stocks to watch. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thank you for watching. Never give up. Except for I lied. In honor of the great Steve Jobs, I've got to get to some after hours stuff that I think will impact your markets tomorrow. This is Qualcomm, a semiconductor fabulous stock. So it's in with AMD and NVDA, big company, not quite as big as AMD, but you know, 165 billion market cap. They reported strong earnings after the bell. It's only up 1%. I think we do a little better than that. We'll have to wait and see tomorrow during the regular session when the institutions start piling in on this one. That was a really strong report from Qualcomm, and I think this is going to help buoy the semiconductor market. tomorrow. Let me see, take a look at some of these other, smaller, if they're getting impacted. Yeah, Marvell. Yeah, anyway. I think Qualcomm will help buoy the semiconductor sector tomorrow. Another one that reported tonight was Align, which is a really Align is a much maligned stock, but they reported strong numbers, up near 300 after hours. So hopefully it can rally back through the 200s, up more than 10% on earnings tonight. And NXT, which is from another sector, this energy solar sector, and this one's up 15%. And you can see this one's charging out of a base here, the 46.55 buy point. It's going to rally right through it. So it's not going to give you really a chance to buy. I guess you could say the 49.82 would be the high in the handle. I mean, it just depends on your style. If you want to buy below the 50 at 39, buy low and sell high. But this thing's definitely going to ramp tomorrow above all these other buy points. And Next Tracker is a recent IPO, and this is rallied into an IPO base, pulled back, kind of, you call that like a little pennant there, pennant flag pattern on the weekly. And now it's going to blast higher to new highs. So congrats to the longs there. So those three stocks after hours look good. I haven't really looked at too much more after hours. I got some digging to do, but just, overall, just, relax, allow the indexes to pull back. We knew the Nasdaq was too hot at 6% above its 50. So if it wants to correct quickly to the 21 and then rally back, but overall, you got to take a step back. We had this big move from October 26th. This is a 25% move. You've only given 3 back. Okay. The last time, it pulled back, like 3% as well. Okay. Or more. I don't know. I got to do the math there. It might be more than 3%, but maybe a similar move like that. So we're not out of the woods, but it didn't pull back to the 50 last time. And remember, once again, these are rising moving averages. So, like I said, it was 6.1% on Monday. It doesn't have to come down 6% to meet that, because this thing's rising every day. And if it just went sideways, this 50 will catch up with it, at the 15,000 level. So just be patient. We're in an uptrend, just, big picture, we're in an uptrend. You don't really want to make any new buys I don't want to make any new buys until I see, some strength, in the index and individual stocks. We know that Apple and Meta and Amazon reports tomorrow are going to impact this. It's going to impact all of them, really, the Dow and the S&P and the Nasdaq. So just relax, hang tight, just observe the strength. There are many strong stocks. I just showed you a bunch of them. So just take it one day at a time, and we're going to come out of this thing, and it's going to trend higher. And Jerome Powell is not going to be bullied. That's one thing we know. He came out hawkish today, and he's not going to be bullied into lowering rates. So anyway, thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up.